And welcome to the final trailer for the Final
So,
Fantasy
Cloud,
VII
you were a
Remake.
soldier
And we
first class,
start
right?
with the scene where Cloud and Eri talks on top of a giant goofy kid slide. Every
Really? What's
time I
weird about
think
it?
of like this scene
Nothing.
may have been just too
Just like you were the same
stylistic. We're
rank.
probably gonna change something around it. The game keeps
As who?
proving me wrong. I
The first
love
guy
this
I ever loved.
so much.
Although, you know, the whole ship teasing between Cloud and Aerith, you think
Personal
that-
space, Eri. Come on.
you know, what's even the point of ship
Your
teasing
eyes.
these two?
to
We-
be fair, this was also the thing, where she was looking at her eyes to make sure that the eyes are
Yes.
exactly like that other
Aerith is
boyfriend at the
ancient.
top.
Hey, Elmira.
Probably the last one living.
So yeah, there's a new
Also,
lyrical
a
song.
young model for Elmira for the
You're a descendant
flashback.
of
I'm
the-
surprised
yes.
they actually went there.
I'm not
Ah, yes, Elmira,
When we're
the
older,
character who
and
just
you're a famous
vanished.
soldier, if I'm ever
Ho-
trapped or
hopefully,
in trouble,
we remember her this time
promise you'll
around.
come and
Oh
save me.
boy.
Sephiroth, soldiers. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of all of this.
Oh, better get used to it in your life, honey, because
I don't
it is
think-
going to
yeah.
haunt
Hey,
you.
Cloud Mom.
I'd really love to
Cloud
stay in
had a
chat,
mom?
but-
Hey,
Yes.
yes, she
So
died.
Got more
In fact,
pizza
all
here?
these
I'll
people are
take
pretty
another.
much going to
Wow.
die anyway.
Here, boys, burglars. Tifa,
Johnny, of course.
viciously, without mercy.
The actual Don Corleolakis,
You
Koch
seek
and
my
Scotch, I think they're called.
I
Yeah,
should
I'll
Cloud
explain
shots.
a bit more. These are a couple of new side characters introduced for the market. I'll mention more after the trailer's over.
Dante, what are you doing here?
Nice
wish
truck.
I could
Oh, protect the
Shinra has
smile.
confirmed the reactor to be the
Oh
target
boy,
of the
oh
bomb.
boy, that we got
Shinra's
news
decided they
propaganda.
ought to stamp them out.
The sky is falling, and Avalanche is to blame.
The
But I
system
work
is
for
broken,
Shinra.
man.
I'm the enemy.
I don't care.
Greetings and welcome, Avalanche.
I don't know who this guy is, but this one is the mayor. He's supposed to be like Tom Kenny.
I've also drafted a
That will not be.
It sounded a bit like Rabbit from Winnie Pooh.
Now, and it's, the president looks like William Hurt.
Push it past the red line. Stop them, you fools! Don't let them escape.
They're going to drop the
I don't know who this woman is.
Whispers, perhaps best described as arbiters of fate.
Oh no, the Dementors.
Hey, you know.
I promise.
It's here. You know what I'm looking forward to right now?
Wow.
The Tifa and Scarlet slapping each other in age.
You're a soldier, aren't you?
Shame it probably won't
Also,
be in
hey,
this part.
Rufus, actually looking pretty decent with the trench coat. You'll see later on in the trailer because it's time for the gameplay section with Motorball.
Okay, I just want
at
to
least
say
this is-
I call
Doesn't know what that means.
Red 13 just called Baron a piece of shit. What
and
is this?
check it out. I called it, guys. The Robo Roller boss will actually be a moving boss.
Epic flower giving action with
Wow, you
Cloud.
can play as Eric carrying Marlene. That's
Hey,
nice.
the Hell House.
This is the weirdest version of Contact I've ever seen.
Oh, those summons look pretty good.
Congrats.
Also, here's an interesting cool thing that in order to make Rufus more of a threat, he uses the shotgun as like a propeller unit. Also, he has a fucking golden gun.
Wow.
Of course, he
So,
has a
he's,
golden
so now
gun.
he's
I lose
Scaramanga.
something, a part of myself.
Oh, also
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah, Sephiroth just stabbed Barrett.
This could well be.
Knew that he'd be interesting with other
Yeah, that's how he
characters.
loses the shit.
Let us
Yeah.
defy destiny.
You get
Together.
stabbed, but the only thing you lose
Wow.
is glasses.
There's still so much to be done.
Get it? Because this is only the first part. Aren't these developers so clever?
Ugh, yuck.
Yeah, in fact, if you look close enough, you can see part one just in very tiny font.
Also, I have no idea what the teaser is supposed to be because Zack's still dead. You're not convincing me that he's still alive or something.
But don't you see? It turns out Sephiroth was Zack all along. He just grew longer
okay.
hair, and he's now
Sorry.
haunting Cloud forever.
Oh my
It's, pretty
god.
it's very simple, Teo. This time they actually remember to use a Phoenix Sound on him.
Instead of just
Oh,
burying
those
his corpse.
exist.
Maybe that'll mean Aerith doesn't have to die
I mean,
this
I'll
time
give,
around.
I'll give, I'll give the original game an excuse. Cloud was in a too much catatonic state at that moment to understand, I suppose. Not so much for Eri, though, but whatever. Anyway, before telling quickly, let me tell you quickly because I actually followed the newsletters for this game, and also I'm probably confident we will probably introduce better so in the game. So just to pick up, the characters that you've seen tied to the market are respectively, the woman is called Madame M, the guy with the beard is called Chocobo Sam, the guy who looks like Dante is called Leslie, and they're basically people who hold part of a market but are at the dependence of Don Corneo. Basically, in the original game, Don Corneo felt more like a presence of the market, but only like one of the many, and had only his Bravo. Here, they try to play a bit more the mafia angle and saying that he's basically controlling the different types of businesses of the market, which I actually like in terms of a change. So these are kind of his dependents, and they will help Cloud in the quest of getting the dress. So look forward to them. And it also helps
make it very elaborate.
Small teaser. Leslie is also a character from one of the novels. Well, sorta. It was essentially one of the characters was later introduced in a novel called "The Kids Are Alright," who was talking about how the Turks rescued a bunch of kids after the events of the first game. So basically, we're just now incorporating to be cute. Anyway, who wants to start?
I'll go first. Yeah, it's looking pretty sweet and awesome. Again, it's nice that we'll see a lot more motorcycle action. I totally called that they would change that road boss into, well, an actual road boss this time around. I mean, it's on wheels and everything. But this also seems to imply that we'll be getting a lot more action on the motorcycle, since we've also got that hotshot soldier guy who seems to have a beef with Cloud. The changes and everything have been looking very nice.
Actually, let me check. Keep going, Joe. I'll check in the meantime, because they actually released a bunch of new infos about some of the other characters having voice actors. And Rosh is voiced by Austin Lee Matthews. Actually, don't know who he is. Go on, Joe.
Anyway, it seems like this game is definitely going to go beyond just the exiting of Midgard, since we get stuff like the backstory of Cloud and Tifa, how Tifa loses her father and all that, which we don't really learn until, much later into the story here and there. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. I really do wonder where this game will end. Again, I won't have to worry about it because I'll be waiting to get the full version.
Go on, sorry.
But,
go on.
But yeah, I mean, I'll let you go to your theory when it's your final thoughts.
Sure.
The graphics look very nice and all. Voice acting sounds good. I still prefer George Newbern as Sephiroth. And man,
sorry, Joe, he's still Superman, so it's fine.
Again, the weird thing is like, well, they're still gonna have the classic voice actors and everything, but this remake. So it's a little
weird. Stylistic choice only for the English version, only for the English dub.
And it's not the first time a Square Enix IP has two sets of voice actors for the same characters in English. As like I said before, after they released the Tomb Raider 2013 game, the following year they released the sequel to that multiplayer game, and that still had the one from the first Crystal Dynamics trilogy doing
that was because it wasn't tied to the reboot series when 2013 was, I think.
Square Enix can be weird like that. It's going to be interesting, though. It looks like Sephiroth's going to be much more of a threat earlier on into the story, in the sense like, well, he seems like he'll be more of a direct threat as opposed to being, just mainly there to Cloud for the first bit, so that's going to be interesting to see how they tackle. Marlene looks adorable. Again, I still wonder if maybe Aerith won't have to die in this remake. Lord knows, so it's good. What?
No.
Yeah.
Jova, her death is an important catalyst.
Again, it wouldn't.
She gotta die.
It wouldn't be the first time in a remake to undo a death or whatnot.
Let me say, Jova Visser, if you don't remember, Maximilian did play at an event, I still think along Easy Allies of all by Square Enix. And he got to play a bit of Act 2, what follows immediately after the bombing of the reactor. There's a particular winking at the camera moment when Cloud meets Aerith doing that, but without spoiling, because I know if you're curious, watch Maximilian's video about it. But let me tell you, Jova, without spoiling too much, I'm pretty sure we're confident Aerith is still gonna die.
Okay, but maybe they'll pull an Eternal Sonata and make it so that you can revive her around the end quest.
Or like, what's that character from Super Paper Mario? I forgot her name. The daughter of the ruler of Hell and Heaven.
God, I can't remember her name.
One of your companions, but go on.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know her name either.
Regardless, though, this game looks pretty nice, and I look forward to buying the 7 Remake as a complete package in the next 30 years
In
or so.
2030, yes.
That's being generous. Next.
Alright, Waves.
Yeah, the game still looks pretty cool. It's just It's just at this point I'm not sure when exactly I'll be getting my hands on it because of reasons.
I still get it digitally, so at least I know I'll be on release day. Some of my friends here in Italy actually got it already, but of course under my request they haven't told me anything. So aside from the videos that I mentioned and the material that I've seen, with the others I don't know that much. So
but I mean, yeah, it still looks cool, and I'm looking forward to playing it when I get it.
All right then, Shiro.
I mean, the only thing I can really say is it looks a lot of fun and very pretty.
Of course.
It's a pretty game.
How fluffy is Red 13 for your taste?
Fluffy enough. Good floof.
All right, Pedro.
Again, everything looks exactly on point like I want to, and yeah, and I'm very open to see what possible changes and there will be just to make sure things keep being surprising. You know, like let's face it, not everything about the original game was great. So it does make sense to make some changes here and there for the purpose of doing something like more world building and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to see what exactly. Again, like I said, the only real thing that I keep hoping is that after this entire process is finished, I'm hoping Nomura and his main team finally get a proper chance at making an original Final Fantasy game, because he's the only big director at Square that hasn't gotten a proper chance yet.
Pedro, we all know that after they're finally done with the 7 Remake, Square's gonna have them go to working on Kingdom Hearts 4.
Whatever random mobile.
No, but Joe, but remember, the reason the Osaka team exists is so that Nomura can work on two projects at the same time. You know, so there's that's not a problem. Remember, he has 2 teams.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we all know that Square is going to put Nomura directly to work on Kingdom Hearts 4 afterwards. And since they like to multi-manage.
We'll see. It depends. If Nomura does really well with this remake, and he still has an idea for a new one, maybe Square will be willing to accept this pitch as a reward for succeeding with this remake. We'll see how things go. So yeah, that's about it. Yep, fine by me.
All right. Quickly mentioning, because I just for paying off, I'll mention only for this one. Austin Lee Matthews, the guy who's voicing Roche, apparently at the classic. Career starting from the basics and going up as a voice actor, because he starts in 2012, but he's done additional voices for like 3-4 years. Then he started actually getting some serious roles, and more recently has gotten some decent one, like Sid in the Choco Mystery Dungeon game Square released last year. One is Saga Scarlet Grace. So he's accustomed a bit to Square, but he also did voice a couple of characters in the more recent Beyblade anime. So he's up and coming in that kind of sense. So I'll look forward to it. It sounds fine as Roche. Anyway, the theory that I quickly mentioned to Jova, Square has a tendency of spoiling a couple of things with its trailers on everything, and this series of one, it's not too big of an exception. I still am on the idea that Genova is the final boss of this first part. Notice how Red 13 has mentioned her when we were talking about the line on the fence, and that clearly screams of before final battle. I can't believe it's multiple phases though, and Sephiroth maybe sneaks in for like one last boss fight at the end, because if there's one thing the original game taught is that Genova takes the shape of Sephiroth and roams around the world doing shit. So there's that. So maybe it's that. So my theory is that essentially the team escapes the Shinra building with the moto as the motorball boss fight. Then they turn, they see that the building is swirling around with the arbiters of fate, whatever they call the smoke monster. Then essentially they go back, but are like on the exterior or something, and they fight Genova. And I guess at that point decides to pursue Sephiroth because like she escapes from there or something. I don't know. Only speculation. As for the trailer itself, yeah. Good stuff, and only to cement what the news that I've been following from Square have been saying, because they showed a couple of things that they built up, like the new side characters, for example. It's also interesting to notice like the minor things, like the fact that, for example, Hojo during the meet, you can see like in the corner that now Hojo sits properly in the meeting of Shinra HQ instead of just entering the room, saying he has a big scientist stick and then getting away. Again, interesting, and like the previous trailer, makes me interested to see what the change is going to be. I still reiterate, there hasn't seen a single bad piece of marketing for this game so far in my book, and that's an accomplishment for me. So, again, super hyped, the game is almost here, let's fucking go.
All right.
See you for the main game.
Yeah, see you then.
See ya.
Yep.